have a confession, Father. The confession booth had become Sister Mary's daily routine. She was there last week when she slept with the new neighbor. According to her recount, she had slipped into his bed, and the rest was history. Today, she had a confession. Father, I think I have fallen for you. The way you listen without judgment, your voice, your gaze. This time, Reverend Martin's tone wasn't the calm, judgment-free tone. What is wrong with you? He asked. From her side of the box, she could tell he was angry, but she knew her power too. She could have him if she pressed harder. Father, she purred, you are a single young man, disguised as a priest, and I am in a marriage. That should never have happened. After saying this, she paused and smiled. This was the line that always got them, but not Reverend Martin's. He took it as a hint to listen. Tell me then, why are you in the marriage? You are young, beautiful. What happened? Well, there was a man I was supposed to marry, Mary began. Bingo, Reverend Martin smiled. She took the bait. I met Harry in my first year. He was a master's student who lived in the same compound as me. It was fascinating. What fascinated you about him? Reverend Martins asked, making Mary laugh. He had the ability to get girls, make fools of themselves. Harry, I cooked this. Harry, can I charge my cup? I mean, my phone. The girls loved Harry, and Harry had eyes for only Mary. Mary, have you had anything to eat? I noticed you went for classes early, he would often say, while waiting in front of my room, holding out a bag of takeouts. Mary, the dry cleaner is taking my clothes. Give me your dirty laundry. Just then, Mary sneezes. Bless you, the Reverend retorts. Well, you know how to bless me, Reverend, she purrs. A last attempt to get him, but he knew better. The story, Martins asked. Just then, a phone rang. It was Mary's husband, Dio. Excuse me for a minute, Father, she requested. Who left the television on? Dio yelled. It just exploded. Come home now. I have to go, Father. My husband has forgotten he was the one that watched the TV last night. As she said this, she took her bag and left the confession booth. What a woman, Reverend Martin sighed out. Leaving the confession booth, Mary was always the last person. It was a routine. Dayo! Why is there so much smoke? Mary screamed. As she navigated to open the backyard door for ventilation, standing in the middle of a chaotic scene, was Dayo, vet by the week, nagging husband by weekend. I was making breakfast, he argued. Mary turned to look at the clock. It was 6 p.m. I made you breakfast before I left. I told you, didn't you like it? She asked, concerned. I gave it to Lala, Mama Lucy's dog. It was hungry. Mary was mad now. If she was a character in a cartoon, fumes would come out of her head. I made you yam and eggs and you gave it to our neighbor's dog. Then you go ahead to almost taking your life frying eggs. You know what? I don't care. As she says this, she attempts walking away. Babe, I'm sorry. I couldn't watch the dog starve. We're out of dog food, he added. Now Mary couldn't even be mad anymore. Despite not having pets, Dayo always had dog and cat foods in the house or in his car to give animals which he saw starving. He had his good sides. Maybe that was why she didn't see the red flags. As the compound quieted, the lights went off in apartments. Harry opened up, a slutty voice called at apartment 11. It was Mary. She was on a mission in her red nightgown. It's open, a male voice called from inside. It was Harry, the man she believed she should have married. You know what they say, what happens in room 11 remains in room 11. But tonight, it was not the case. As she cuddled in Harry's arms, they heard a thud. Standing at the door of room 11, the door Mary had forgotten to lock, was Dio. Mary! I heard whispers. It began softly, too softly. I chose not to believe it. I know we have issues, but I thought they were not enough to step out of our marriage. Mary couldn't talk. Could she say, I shouldn't have married you? It's the devil. I slipped and fell. Dio left, not uttering another word. Isn't this what we wanted? Harry urged, with a smile, attempting to pull Mary into a hug. Not like this, Mary whispered. Not in the apartment 2 doors away from his. Not in the arms of his cousin. The next day, seated in the church back row, her face covered with sunglasses and a black scarf, was Mary. After service, she approached Reverend Martins, just as he was about to enter the confession booth. I have a confession, Father. It can't wait. Today, it wasn't Mary the flirty confessor. Reverend Martins saw a woman who needed God more than ever. Mary sat quietly in the back row of the lecture hall, a Bible balanced between her fingers as she tried to focus on the open page of her notebook. The hair was thick, with the familiar hum of restless undergraduates, some whispering, others scrolling through their phones, a few pretending to pay attention. But today's lecture felt different. Instead of their usual grumpy lecturer, a tall young man stood at the front. His crisp shirt sleeves were rolled neatly to his elbows, revealing strong forearms as he arranged his notes, his voice, smooth and firm, carried across the hall. I know your lecturer couldn't make it today, he said, smiling slightly. So, I'll be taking the class. My name is Ari. I'm a master's student in the department. A few girls in the front row giggled and exchanged glances, whispering behind their hands. Harry's warm brown eyes scanned the room with ease, his confidence almost disarming. When his gaze drifted towards the back, it landed on Mary. For a brief moment, his expression softened. He noticed her quiet focus, the way her head tilted slightly as she listened. Mary quickly dropped her eyes, her heart racing. As the lecture went on, she found herself stealing glances at him, watching the way he explained complex theories with patience and humor. He didn't talk down to them the way some lecturers did. He made eye contact, smiled often, and even cracked small jokes that had the hall rippling with laughter. By the time the class ended, the chatter around her was filled with only one topic. It's fine, I beg. One girl sighed dramatically. Which department did he say again? I must register elective there, another whispered. Now, master students like that, they do substitutes. He looks like a proper lecturer. Mary chuckled softly as she packed her books, trying to ignore the butterflies in her stomach. But just as she stood up, Harry stepped away from the podium, his eyes catching hers again. He smiled, hesitated briefly, then walked towards her row. Hi, he said gently, extending his hand. I don't think we've officially met. I'm Harry. Mary froze for a moment before taking his hand. His palm was warm, steady. Mary, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Mary, he repeated slowly, as though tasting the name. Nice to meet you. Her cheeks burned under his gaze. They exchanged a few words about the lecture and then, unexpectedly, realized they both live in the same off campus residence. Harry's face lit up. Ah, that's good. At least I know I won't be the only one suffering Nepa Wahala tonight. Mary laughed. The tension isn't true. Yesterday I had to read with candle. It's not easy. Then maybe Harry leaned slightly closer. We can suffer together. Study sessions, candlelight tutorials, the full Nigerian student package. Mary laughed again, covering her mouth shyly. By the time they left the hall, the sun was dipping low, casting a golden glow on the campus. Harry offered to walk her back to the residence. Their steps fell into rhythm as they strolled along the dusty paths, weaving past small kiosks selling meat pies and chilled coke. Harry said, glancing at her, you're quieter than most people in class. But when you spoke today, it was clear, confident. I like that. Mary's chest warmed. I just prefer to listen most times. Well, that's a good thing, Harry replied softly. Some of us talk too much. When they reached the residence gate, Harry slowed the steps. So I'll see you later. Dinner or maybe the study lounge? Mary hesitated a bit. Before nodding, I like that. That evening, Harry didn't go straight upstairs when they got back to the residence. Instead, he stopped and looked at Mary with a mischievous smile. Have you eaten? He asked. Mary shook her head. Not yet. Good, Harry grinned. Follow me. I know a spot. They walked down the street together, onto the smoky aroma of fried plantain and stew hitting Mary's nose. A buka sat by the roadside, its zinc roof rattling softly in the night breeze. Inside, long wooden benches were crowded with students and neighbors. A kerosene lantern flickered in the corner, casting shadows on the walls. Madam K! Harry called cheerfully as he entered. Two plates of rice, plenty stew, and plantain a bag. The stout woman behind the counter smiled wild. Harry, you don't carry new friend come. Her eyes twinkled as they swept over Mary. Mary blushed. Lowering her gaze, Harry leaned closer, whispering, Ignore her, she knows everybody. They found a bench in the corner, squeezed side by side. Around them, the booker buzzed with laughter, clicking spoons and the sizzle of frying oil. When the steaming plates arrived, Harry pushed his closer to Mary. Test the stew first. If you don't like it, I'll order something else. Mary obeyed shyly, scooping a spoonful. Her eyes widened. It's perfect, Harry chuckled. See? I told you. They ate slowly, talking about lecturers, assignments, and the madness of NEPA. Harry teased her about the way she carefully picked plantain first from her plate. Across the room, two girls from their residence sat at another bench, whispering and sneaking glances. One of them, Claire, deliberately raised her voice. Harry, won't you greet us? She called with a grin. Harry looked up briefly and waved, then returned to his food and to Mary. Don't mind them, he murmured, his voice low. I'd rather be here. Something in Mary's chest tightened at his words. For the first time in a long time, she felt seen, like she wasn't just another face in the crowd. When they finished, Harry insisted on paying despite Mary's protest. As they walked back under the moonlit sky, their steps slow, Mary felt the warmth of companionship settle around her. At the residence gate, Harry paused. So, study lounge tomorrow? He asked hopeful. Mary smiled softly, her heart light. Yes. That night, as she lay on her tin mattress with the distant hum of generators outside, one thought kept echoing in her mind. Harry. The weeks that followed were a blur of laughter, hushed conversations, and stolen hours in the study lounge. Mary and Harry fell into a rhythm that felt inevitable, like two rivers merging. After classes, he would appear by her side with a smile and a pack of granules, or sometimes suya wrapped in old newspaper. At night, when the residence light flickered and NEPA seized power, he would knock gently on her door. Mary, his voice would come low, careful not to wake the corridor. Study time. And each time, her heart would leap as she opened the door. They studied by lantern glow, their books spread across the table. But often, the silence between words grew heavier than the assignments. Harry's hand would brush over hers as he guided her biro across the page. Sometimes he leaned too close, his breath warm against her cheek, as he explained the formula. Mary tried to focus on the words, but her pulse always betrayed her. One night, after hours of equation and quiet laughter, Harry leaned back and watched her. Mary, he said softly, do you know how much you mean to me? Her pen froze. She turned to him, eyes wide. Harry, he reached across the table, his fingers coiling around hers. His touch was steady, but his voice trembled. It's like when I look at you, the noise of everything fades. I don't know if I've ever felt this way before. Mary's chest rose and fell as she searched his face. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then Harry leaned in, slow and hesitant, giving her every chance to pull away. She didn't. Their lips met in a kiss that started soft but deepened with a hunger both had tried to deny. Mary's hands clutched the shirt, pulling him closer. As his arm slid around her waist, the lantern flickered, casting shadows on the walls as the kiss grew fiercer, desperate. Harry put away slightly, his forehead resting against hers. both of them breathless. Mary, if we don't stop now, his voice was rough, pained. Mary closed her eyes, trembling. Every part of her screamed not to stop, but a quieter part whispered of boundaries she wasn't ready to cross. With a shudder, she put back, pressing her hands to her face. I'm sorry, she whispered. Harry touched her cheek gently, tilting her face back towards him. Don't ever apologize for what we feel. It's real, Mary. It's ours. Her eyes brimmed with tears as she nodded. That night, lying awake on her thin mattress, Mary could still taste him on her lips. Her body burned with longing, and her heart ached with the knowledge that this was no ordinary crush. It was something vast, something that felt like it had been written in her soul long before this life. But the universe was not done with them yet. Semester had settled into its rhythm. Lectures, study nights, book-out dinners, and the quiet flame that burned between Harry and Mary. The girls in the residence had not stopped their pursuits of Harry. Every day brought another admirer, hovering around him with cooked jollof rice, assignments, needing help, or fake excuses to borrow his lecture notes. But Harry only had eyes for Mary. And though she told herself not to care about the whispers and side glances, her heart always lifted when he brushed past the others to sit beside her, when he chose her voice over theirs. It was a bright Saturday morning. Mary had gone to the faculty building to return a borrowed textbook when she nearly collided with him. Dio, tall, broad shouldered, with skin that caught the sun like polished bronze. Dio carried himself with ease of someone who had never had to beg life for anything. His athletic frame and his sneakers were the kind Mary had only seen on Instagram pages. Careful, dear, he said with a smile, steadying her by the arm. His voice was smooth, a little teasing. I'm sorry, Mary muttered, flustered, trying to pull away. But his eyes lingered. No harm done, actually. You just improved my morning. Mary blinked. Excuse me? Tayo chuckled, sliding his hands into his pockets. You're the kind of girl a man notices once and doesn't forget. What's your name? Mary hesitated. Something about him unsettled her. Mary. Mary, he repeated slowly, as if tasting the syllables. A beautiful name for a beautiful woman. I'm Dio. Veterinary medicine. Vet, she asked surprised. He nodded. Fine, yeah, don't worry. I don't bite unless you're a goat or a dog. Mary laughed in spite of herself. There was something bold, almost reckless about him. She should have walked away, but instead she let him fall into step beside her as they headed towards the residence. By the time they reached the streets lined with provision stores and barber shops, Tayo had made her laugh 3 more times. It was witty, charming, too smooth, but undeniably magnetic. Mary found herself smiling, then quickly scolding herself for it. They stopped at a kiosk, where Tayo bought her a bottle of malt without asking. You look like someone who needs it, he said casually, handing it to her. Mary raised an eyebrow. And what makes you think so? Because I already want to impress you, Mary, he said simply, looking at her with such intensity that she looked away. Before she could respond, a voice called from across the street, Mary! Her heart launched. She knew that voice. She turned and there was Harry, standing frozen, his eyes dark with confusion. For a moment, time held its breath. Harry! Mary whispered. Dio grinned, unaware of the tension. Ha! Ha! Cousin, he exclaimed, striding over and clapping Harry on the shoulder. You didn't tell me you had angels walking around your campus. Mary's mouth fell open. Cousin? Harry's jaw tightened. Yes, he said shortly, his gaze flickering between them. Dio, oblivious or pretending to be, laughed. Small word, isn't it? He turned to Mary with that same bold smile. Don't worry, Mary. You'll be seeing more of me. Mary's chest tightened as Harry's eyes met hers. His look was not anger, not yet, but a warning. A storm was gathering. And Mary knew, with a sinking heart, that her story had just become infinitely more complicated. It was a hot Tuesday afternoon when Mary's phone buzzed. She had been in the library with Harry, The two of them bent over his notes, his hand brushing hers now and then in ways that set her heart racing. She almost ignored the call. Her father rarely rang during school hours, but something told her to pick it up. Her father's voice was strange. Mary, we're in trouble. Mary sat upright, her pen clattering to the floor. Papa, what's wrong? The loan, he said, almost choking. They said if I don't pay by the end of the month, they will come for me, Mary. I could be jailed. The words crashed into her like cold water. Her chest tightened. But how much? 3 million, he whispered. I've tried everything. I can't raise it. Mary's vision blurred. 3 million? She echoed, her voice small. That was more money than she could ever imagine. Harry noticed her shaking hands and touched her arm. Mary, what is it? She ended the call quickly, unable to speak, and looked at him. The concern in her eyes nearly undid her. It's my father, she whispered. He owes money. They will arrest him. Harry pulled her into his arms. Right there in the library corner. Don't worry, he murmured. We'll find a way. I'll talk to my uncle. Maybe he can. His voice trailed off, as though even he knew the promise was fragile. That night, Mary lay awake. She knew love would not be enough. The answer came the next day, in the form of Dio. He spotted her outside the residence gate, lost in thoughts. His sleek car was parked nearby, gleaming under the sun. Mary, he called, stepping out. His smile was warm, but his eyes were sharper than usual. You look troubled. She forced a smile. I'm fine. No, you don't, he said simply, walking closer. Tell me what's wrong. Mary hesitated, then shook her head. It doesn't concern you. Everything about you concerns me, Dio replied. His voice was lower now, serious. I can see it on your face. Tell me. The sincerity in his tone broke something in her. Against her will, the words stumbled out. She told him about the loan, her father's risks of arrest, her helplessness. By the time she finished, her eyes were wet. Dio was silent for a moment, then he reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. 3 million, he said. Mary's eyes widened. Wait, what are you doing? Calling my banker, Dio said casually. This is nothing, Mary. A small thing. Consider it handled. Her heart pounded. No, Dio, I can't let you. You can, he said smoothly, stepping closer. Mary, I don't just like you. I want you in my life. Let me prove it. His words wrapped around her like silk, comforting, dangerous. For a moment, she imagined her father free, her mother relieved, her home at peace. But then Harry's face flashed in her mind, his touch, his kiss, the fire that consumed her whenever they were near. Harry had her heart. Dio was offering her survival. Her voice cracked as she whispered, Dio, why are you doing this? Because, he said, his eyes burning into hers. When I see you, I know I found the woman I want, and I don't lose what I want. That evening, Harry knocked on her door, his smile fading when he saw her pale face. Mary, what happened? She looked at him, her chest aching with guilt. She couldn't tell him, not yet. He would never accept Dio's help. But the weight of her father's freedom pressed down on her shoulders like iron. Harry cupped her face in his hands. His voice raw. Mary, whatever comes, you will stay with me. Promise me. Her lips trembled. She wanted to promise. She wanted to give him every part of herself. But instead, she looked away. And in that silence, Harry felt the first crack in the love they had built. The tension between the cousins was no longer hidden. Mary felt it in the most little ways. When Harry came into the study lounge, his eyes would sweep the room, always lounging on her. He would smile, a small private smile that made her heart skip. Then Dio would stroll in, confident as ever, and the energy would shift. He would lean casually against Mary's chair, drop a joke into her ear, sometimes even place a hand on her shoulder, claiming space Harry thought was his. The other girls whispered, of course. See as baby they enjoy, two fine cousins, fighting over her. Some said she was lucky, but Mary didn't feel lucky. She felt stunning too. One evening, after group study, Harry waited for her outside the residence. The courtyard was dim, lit only by the yellow bulb above the gate. Mary, he said as she stepped out. She froze. His tone was raw, urgent. He moved closer. Why are you avoiding me? Her voice tightened. I'm not. You are, his jaw flexed. His voice breaking. Do you think I don't see it? Every time he comes near you, you let him. Do you know what it does to me? Her eyes stung. Harry, please. No, Mary. He grabbed her hand. His palm hot against hers. I need you to tell me now. Is it me or is it him? Her chest heaved. She wanted to shout. It's you, it's only you. But her father's face flashed in her mind. Weary, broken, counting down days before ruin. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Harry, I don't know. The words cut him deeper than any rejection. He released her hand like it burned. For the first time, Harry turned and walked away without looking back. Mary sank against the wall, sobbing silently, hitting herself. The next day, Dio showed up with a bouquet of lilies, not roses, lilies. Her favorites, he remembered from a stray conversation they had weeks ago. He found her alone in the courtyard. You've been crying, he said softly, brushing the stump under her eyes before she could stop him. Leave it, Dio, she whispered. But he shook his head. I can't leave it, Mary. I see the way he looks at you. But he can't give you what I can. He can't protect your family, your future. I can. Mary lips trembled. You don't understand. I do, Dio interrupted firmly. And I'm not asking for an answer now. Just know this. I won't let you drown when I can carry you. His words wrapped around her like a safety net, steady, secure. She should have pushed him away, but instead, she found herself leaning into his warmth just for a moment. And in that moment, Harry appeared. He had come to apologize, to beg for another chance to prove his love. But what he saw stopped him cold. Dio's arm around Mary, Mary leaning into him, her head lowered, her body trembling. Something shattered in Harry's chest. He took a step back into the shadows. His fist clenched so tight his nails dug into his skin. Dio saw him. Their eyes locked. For a heartbeat, the words stood still, then Dio's mouth curved into the faintest smirk. Not of cruelty, but of triumph. Harry turned away before Mary even noticed. That night, Mary couldn't sleep. She sat at her desk, staring at her journal. Harry's face burned into her mind. The fire they shared, the nights of whispered secrets, the kisses that left her breathless, it all pressed inside her. And yet, Dio's words echoed too. I won't let you down. She buried her face in her hands. God, what am I doing? She whispered. Her heart was in one man's hand, her family future in the other's. And she was being ripped apart. The call came on a Thursday evening. Just as Mary was returning from class, her mother's voice trembled over the line. Mary, they came again, the creditors. They said if your father doesn't pay 23 million by the end of the month, they will not only jail him, they will take the house. Mary nearly dropped her phone. 23 million? She repeated, stunned. Mama, how? Where will we ever? Her mother broke down with sobs. I don't know, my child, your father. He is broken. I don't know what will become of us. Mary ended the call with shaking hands. 23 million? The number echoed in her head like a death toll. She sat on the stairway, clutching her knees, her chest even. That was when Dio appeared. Mary, his voice was cautious. But he sat beside her without waiting for permission. What happened? She shook her head, unable to speak. He placed a steady hand over hers. Talk to me. Finally, through choked sobs, she told him everything. The depths, the threats, her family despair. Her words came in fragments, but Dio caught them all, his face unreadable. When she finished, there was silence. Then Dio pulled out his phone, dialed quickly and spoke in a clipped tone. Shegun, I need 23 million transferred to my account today. Yes, today. Mary's head snapped up. Dio! He ended the call and looked at her. It's done. Heart thundered. You can't just... I can, Dio said simply, leaning closer. And I will for you. Tears blurred her eyes. Why? Why would you do this? His voice softened. Because you're not just another girl, Mary. From the moment I saw you, I knew. And if protecting you means using everything I have, then I will. Let me take care of you. Mary's chest burned. Gratitude, fear, longing. It all tangled into a knot. She wanted to scream that she belonged to Harry, that her heart wasn't hers to give, but her father's face haunted her. 23 million. That number swallowed her resistance. When Harry heard the news the next day, he confronted Dio outside the faculty block. You think money can buy her? Harry demanded, his voice trembling with rage. Dio's expression was calm, almost amused. It's not about money, cousin. It's about responsibility. You love her, fine. But love won't keep her family safe. Love won't stop her father from rotting in prison. Harry stepped closer, fist clenched. She doesn't need your charity. She needs someone who loves her for who she is, not what she owes. Dio tilted his head. And you think that's you? The broke substitute lecturer living up stipends. Be honest, Harry. You can't give her the life she deserves, but I can. Harry's fury blazed, but beneath its lay helplessness. He couldn't argue with 23 million. That evening, Mary asked Harry to meet her in the quiet study lounge. The generator hummed faintly outside, the only sound in the dim-lit room. Harry reached for her hand immediately. Mary, tell me it's still us, please. She looked at him, tears brimming. Harry, I love you. More than anything, you're the air I breathe. Then choose me, he pleaded. Forget him, choose me. Her lips trembled. She squeezed his hand, then she just let go. Slowly, Harry, there's something you've forgotten. He frowned. What? Your genotype, she whispered. You are AS and so am I. The silence was heavy, brutal. Harry's eyes widened, his breath catching. Mary! You know what that means, she said, her voice breaking. Even if there's no die or no debt, we couldn't marry without risking children with sickle cell. Harry shook his head violently. We'll find a way. We could. Could what? Mary cried. Clutching her chest, roll the dice with our kids' lives. Harry, I can't. I can't put them through that. Her tears fell freely now. You're my heart, Harry. But I can't build a future with you. Not when science, money, and fate are all against us. He put her into his arms, holding her as if he could stop her from slipping away. His tears mingled with hers. In that embrace, they both knew the truth. Love might be eternal, but in this world, it wasn't enough. The engagement came faster than Mary expected. Tayo's family wasted no time. Within weeks of paying her father's debts, they had sent representatives to Mary home. Her mother wept with relief, blessing Tayo 1,000 times over. Her father, humbled and broken by his mistakes, grasped Tayo's hands and called him son. Mary sat in the corner, her heart torn in two. Everywhere she went on campus, whispers followed her. That's Dio fiancé, they murmured. The envy was thick. Girls wished they were in her shoes. They saw wealth, security, status. No one saw the chains tightening around her chest. Harry saw them. One evening, as she left class, he caught her arm. Mary, talk to me. She couldn't look at him. Harry, please. No, he said, his voice low but fierce. Don't shut me out. You can't pretend what we have doesn't exist. Tears burned in her eyes. It doesn't matter anymore. My family. I don't care about money, Harry snapped. I care about us, about what we feel. Mary, look at me. She did, and the fire in his eyes nearly consumed her. This isn't ordinary love, he whispered. You know it. I know it. It's the kind of love people wait lifetimes for. Her lips trembled. And what about genotype? Harry, AS and AS, are we supposed to gamble with children who might suffer all their lives? His jaw tightened. Then we adopt. Or we wait for science to advance. Or anything. But don't tell me we end here. Don't tell me our story ends with Dio's money. She broke then, sobbing into his chest. Harry, I can't choose you and still live with myself. My father will be in prison. My siblings homeless. How do I carry that guilt? How? He held her tight, pain carving his features. For the first time, Harry had no answer. The weeks blurred into months. Wedding plans surged forward. Mary's parents were radiant. Dio, ever confident, treated her like a prize he had rightfully claimed. Yet at night, in the quiet of her room, Mary clutched her pillow and wept Harry's name. The night before the wedding arrived, with unsettling quiet, Mary was lodged in the grandest suite of a hotel, owned by Dio's family. The room glowed with soft amber lights, gold curtains drawn shut, and bouquet of white lilies set carefully on marble tables. It should have felt like a dream, but Mary felt trapped in a gilded gate. She sat alone in the vanity, her reflection pale, beneath the powder dusting her cheeks. Around her, the silence was unbearable. No bridesmaids, no laughter, no family rushing in with last-minute fuss. Just stillness and the weight of tomorrow. Our thoughts ran wild. Memories of Harry flooding her mind, his laughter at the booker, his lips brushing hers in the study lounge, the fire of his hands guiding hers when she trembled with longing. She pressed a hand to her chest as tears spilled freely. A soft knock at the door startled her. Mary froze. No one was supposed to come tonight. She rose slowly, her heart hammering and opening the door just a crack. Harry stood there. His suit jacket was crumbled, his tie loose, his ablaze with pain and longing. For a moment, they only stared at each other, breath caught between them. Then, without a word, Harry pushed gently past the door and pulled her into his arms. Mary melted against him, her sobs muffled against his chest. Harry, she whispered brokenly. You shouldn't be here. I had to see you, he murmured, brushing his lips against her head just one last time before they take you from me forever. The words undid her. They kissed like drowning souls, desperate, breathless, their hands tangling, pulling, clutching, as if to carve each other into memory. Mary's hotel suits became their words, their whispered confessions and unspoken promises. Say you love me, Harry ground against her lips. I do, Mary gasped, tears mixing with his kisses. God help me, Harry, I love you. Their bodies intertwined, each touch, serene, every breath an echo of a love too fierce to be contained. It was not just desire, it was the ache of two souls, knowing this night was both an ending and a beginning they would never fully live. Hours later, when dawn began to stain the curtains, Mary lay trembling in Harry's arms. Her cheeks were wet, her heart raw. I can't go through with this, she whispered. Harry kissed her forehead. Then don't. But even as he said this, they both knew she would. For her father, for the debt, for duty. And so, when the morning bell of the hotel rang to signal preparation, Mary rose quietly, slipped from Harry's arms and walked to the mirror once again. The white gown waited, pristine and merciless. The small church was overflowing. Guests filled every pew. Murmurs rising like waves, women in gele fanned themselves gently. Men adjusted agbadas and suits. At the altar, Dio stood tall, confident, his smile wild as he greeted the pastor. In the back room, Mary trembled as her father adjusted her veil. You are saving us, my daughter, he whispered hoarsely. God bless you. Mary nodded, numbly, but her chest ached as if it might shatter. She clutched her bouquet of white roses so tightly her knuckles went pale. The music swelled. Mary began a slow walk down the aisle, every step dragging her deeper into a fate she had chosen, but never desired. Her veil blurred the faces, but in her heart she saw Harry, always Harry. She reached the altar. Dio took her hand proudly. The pastor cleared his throat, his voice booming. If anyone here knows of any just cause why these two should not be joined together in holy matrimony, let him speak now. The chapel doors opened. All heads turned. Harry stood there. He wore a slightly oversized suit, his hair unkempt, his eyes blazing with raw emotion. Sunlight spilled around him like a halo, and for a moment time itself stopped. Mary gasped audibly, her knees weakening. Dio's smile faltered as he turned to see his cousin standing defiantly at the door. Harry's gaze locked on Mary, his chest heaving in that silence. His voice cracked, almost a whisper, but everyone heard it. Mary! Her voice parted, tears spilling beneath the veil. The church froze, caught between ruin and redemption. Oh! Reverend Martin said with a sigh. That's my confession, Father, Mary concluded, her tears dried and her expression unrepentant.